we are traveling deep into northern Ethiopia, to a land where time does not simply pass, it layers. Today, you are traveling with Reta Alemu of Ethiopics Traveler. Welcome to Axum, one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in Africa, a place once counted among the four great powers of the ancient world, alongside Rome, Persia, and China. Here, history is not just written, it is carved in stone, buried beneath earth, and whispered through generations. We are in Axum, the ancient heart of Ethiopia, a city steeped in legend and history, and what you see behind me is a testament to a bygone era of grandeur and mystery. This is known as the Queen of Sheba's Palace, an archaeological site, but also a cultural symbol. Our journey in Tigray continues. Stay with us. We are standing in the ruins believed to date back nearly 3,000 years. Discovered in 1898 by German archaeologists, and later excavated more extensively by French archaeologist Francis Anfray in the 20th century. Before that, it was simply farmland. But beneath the soil lay a palace with 52 rooms. Legend says the queen was the 52nd ruler in a long lineage of sovereigns. Architecture and daily life. This is a stone-built storage structure. When excavated, ancient crops were found here, preserved for thousands of years. This suggests advanced food preservation systems and long-term planning. This is the entrance, a 3,000-year-old stairway. Imagine ambassadors, traders, and rulers walking up these steps, entering a court of power. This is believed to be the throne room, where decisions were made that may have shaped entire regions. Diplomatic meetings, alliances, negotiations. Here, a brick oven kitchen, similar to modern Ethiopian ovens used for baking ambasha. This continuity tells us something powerful. Civilizations may fall, but culture evolves without disappearing. Grinding stones, tools of everyday life, and here, a bathroom with drainage. 3,000 years ago, urban planning already included sanitation systems. This was not a primitive society. This was a civilization of intelligence, design, and structure. Science versus tradition. But science remains careful. Archaeologists call this Dungur Palace, a name derived from the Tigrinya word for a place built with many stones. No inscription directly confirms it as the Queen of Sheba's residence. Yet Ethiopian tradition, preserved through oral history and texts, insists this is the Palace of Makeda. So we stand between two worlds, one of evidence, one of memory. And sometimes, history lives between them. The Queen of Sheba in the Bible. The earliest written account of the Queen of Sheba appears in the Bible, in 1 Kings chapter 10. She hears of the wisdom of King Solomon and travels to Jerusalem to test him with hard questions. She arrives with gold, spices, precious stones, a caravan of immense wealth. The Bible describes her as being astonished by Solomon's wisdom, his palace, and his understanding. There was no more spirit in her, meaning she was overwhelmed. She declares, "The report was true, yet I did not believe until I came and saw with my own eyes." But the Bible does not say where she came from exactly. It calls her Queen of Sheba, leaving geography open to interpretation. The Queen of Sheba in the Qur'an. In the Qur'an, her story appears in Surah An-Naml, chapter 27. Here, she is not named directly, but Islamic tradition calls her Bilqis. The story begins with Prophet Solomon, Suleiman, who commands not only humans, but jinn, animals, and the wind. A bird, the hoopoe, reports to Solomon, "There is a kingdom ruled by a woman, rich and powerful, but worshipping the sun." Solomon sends her a message, calling her to submit to God. She responds not with war, but with intelligence. She consults her advisors and chooses diplomacy. When she arrives, Solomon tests her. Her throne is brought to him before she arrives. And then comes one of the most symbolic moments. She enters a palace with a glass floor, thinking it is water, and lifts her dress. Realizing the illusion, she declares, "My lord, indeed I have wronged myself, and I submit with Solomon to Allah." In this version, she is not just powerful, she is wise, strategic, and spiritually transformed. The Ethiopian account, Kebra Nagast. In Ethiopia, the story goes further. The Kebra Nagast, meaning the glory of kings, is a 14th century text that preserves much older traditions. Here, the queen is Makeda. She travels to meet Solomon, just as in the Bible. But in this version, their meeting leads to a son, Menelik I. Menelik grows up in Ethiopia, but later travels to Jerusalem to meet his father. According to tradition, he returns to Ethiopia with the Ark of the Covenant. This moment is foundational. It connects Ethiopia directly to biblical Israel and establishes the Solomonic dynasty, which ruled Ethiopia for centuries. Axum and Yemen, a shared history. Axum's story crosses the Red Sea. In the 6th century, King Caleb of Axum launched a military campaign into Yemen. He defeated Du Nuwas, the Himyarite king, and established Aksumite rule. This is documented in Byzantine records, South Arabian inscriptions. Axum controlled parts of Yemen and influenced trade, religion, and politics. So when Yemen claims the Queen of Sheba, it is not separate from Ethiopia. These regions were deeply connected through trade, migration, and power. Why Axum, or Ethiopia, has a stronger claim. But as the debate continues, one question becomes unavoidable. Why does Axum and Ethiopia hold one of the strongest claims to the Queen of Sheba? First, geography and continuity. Axum is not just an ancient ruin, it is part of a living civilization, with traditions, language, and identity that have continued for thousands of years. Unlike the Sabaean kingdom in Yemen, which declined and fragmented, Ethiopia preserved its royal traditions, its narratives, and its connection to the queen, through texts like the Kebra Nagast and uninterrupted cultural memory. Second, power and scale. By the early centuries AD, the Kingdom of Axum had become one of the great powers of the ancient world. It controlled major trade routes between Africa, Arabia, the Mediterranean, and India. Its ports, like Adulis, connected global commerce. Its kings minted gold coins that traveled across continents. This was not a regional kingdom. This was an empire with international influence. Third, architectural and archaeological dominance. What we see here in Axum, the massive obelisks, the advanced urban planning, the palace structures, these are not small-scale achievements. They represent a society capable of engineering at monumental scale, organizing labor and resources, sustaining long-term political power. Compared to this, the archaeological remains tied directly to the Queen of Sheba in Yemen are far less definitive. Fourth, historical interaction with Arabia. Axum did not just trade with Yemen, it ruled parts of it. In the 6th century, King Caleb of Axum crossed the Red Sea and defeated the Himyarite kingdom. This means Axum was not influenced by Arabia, it influenced Arabia. So, if a powerful queen ruled a civilization connected to both sides of the Red Sea, it becomes more plausible that her legacy would survive strongest in the empire that endured, expanded, and recorded its history. Finally, the question of legacy. The story of the Queen of Sheba is not just about where she lived. It is about where her story survived with the most depth, detail, and continuity. And that story lives strongest here, in Axum. So perhaps the question is not only where she came from, but which civilization carried her legacy forward and turned it into history. While the Queen of Sheba's existence is debated, Axum's power is not. It is proven in coins. King Endubis, around the 3rd century AD, minted the first Axumite coins. These coins were made of gold, silver, and bronze, inscribed in Greek, the language of global trade, bearing the king's image, asserting authority. These coins have been found in the Mediterranean world, the Arabian Peninsula, as far as India. This proves Axum was part of an international trade network. Later, King Ezana transformed coinage again. After converting to Christianity, he replaced pagan symbols with the cross, making Axum one of the first Christian states in history. Coins tell us something critical. Axum was not just legendary, it was economically dominant. Axum's rulers are recorded in history. Zoskalis, mentioned in the Periplus of the Erythraean Sea. Endubis, founder of coinage. Aphilas, economic expansion. Ezana, Christian emperor. Caleb, conqueror of Yemen. Historians like Stuart Munro Hay, Axum, an African civilization of late antiquity. Serju Haile Selassie, ancient and medieval Ethiopian history, have documented Axum as one of Africa's greatest civilizations. Its decline came around the 7th to 8th centuries, but its legacy never disappeared. The palace remains. The stones remain. A story shaped by 3 great civilizations: Ethiopian, Arabian, and biblical. Perhaps she was more than a person. Perhaps she was a bridge between worlds, from the ruins of Axum to the coins that traveled continents to the stories written in sacred texts. Ethiopia holds a history that still speaks to the world. You are traveling with Reta Alemu. Come and experience these wonders.